Questions for me? This meeting's for Deal Health. Any, real estate questions that you guys may have. I have some answers for you, of course. Anything of that nature. No, any questions? No questions. All right, all right. That's fine. Let's see here. I guess I'll talk about what I got going on. I was working a pre-foreclosure lead in my neighborhood that's kind of close to me, and ended up finding this house. I was under pre-foreclosure. I talked to the owner. Her name's Carolyn. Um, she I don't know what I forget. I don't think she knew exactly. She knows she has to sell. She doesn't. Not able to live in the house anymore. Just too far behind. She has about like 80K left on the mortgage, and yeah, she wants to sell for like 225. I was looking. I sold my last property in that same neighborhood. It was a little bit smaller for like about 215. So she's in a she's asking a decent amount of. She's asking a reasonable price for the home. Anyway, I have one of my buyers. His name is John. He's pretty much he's willing to do sight unseen for 220. So I know I'm unable to bump him up. He was originally at like 210 to 215, but he was able to go up to 220 for me. Sight unseen, and then I gotta get Carolyn down in price because she's asking 225, and I gotta, if my guy's at 220, I gotta, try to be lower than 220. So I'm gonna call her and I'm going to have a conversation and see if she is willing to accept a little bit less, than she originally wanted, which it should be, again, you don't know how it could go. Could go south, could go, if it goes south, then I'd really have to try with the buyer to see if I could bring him up even higher. But I gotta hope that she's willing to do like, let's say 210, so I could, make 10. But let's give her a call here. Hi, Carolyn.
Yeah, hey, I accidentally called you in the middle of the night.
Oh, I did.
My way home.
No, you're fine. I did see the missed call, but I assumed like it was, just probably like a butt dial, something along the lines of
Yeah, it
that. All right, but yeah, I spoke to my contractor after I sent over the photos and everything. And initially I thought it needed about like 50,000 in work.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he was saying it's a little bit higher than that. So I know were saying that you wanted 225. Would you be able to? I mean, if I were to, cover closing, cash, of course, for this transaction, and 10, 14 days, however long you need to stay after settlement, would you be able to do 210?
I, I, I'm gonna have like almost 100,000 of it's gonna be out of my pocket already because of mortgage and the taxes already. So it's not. I don't know.
I mean, I like the house. I mean, like I said, I bought the one right on the 26th Avenue, so like right down the road. So like, it's just I know yours is a little bit bigger.
Would you be able to do 115 or 215? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I'll meet you in the middle. I could do 212, 500.
Yeah, let's do that then.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Alrighty. So yeah, I could, I could send you the agreement. What's the best email for you here? Let me just get my pen real quick.
Okay, it'll be my first name, Carolyn,
Mm-hmm.
M, my middle initial, as in Michelle, Carolyn M. Duff, Duff,
Mm-hmm.
80 at Gmail, 80 at Gmail. Carolyn M. Duff, 80 at Gmail.
Got it. Okay. So I'll work on that. And then I'll send you a text when it's sent. I'm gonna put on the agreement in the additional terms that you said you want 10 days after closing so you could
Yeah,
do.
fine.
Okay.
Maybe that, but yeah,
Yeah, just in case, just in case.
yeah.
And then just in case, just to protect myself, like, I'm gonna put on the agreement saying like a $5,000 holdback, just in case you're not out. So like, it gives you some incentive to get out. So like, for example, let's say if we're gonna be selling for 212 500. So the title company would hold $5,000 of your proceeds, and then they will release the 5,000 when I tell them that you are out.
Can you put in there too that the 89,000 or whatever goes to the mortgage company?
Well, they already know that. They would do the search, and then they'll see that. Yeah, that could, yeah.
On the house.
Yes, yeah. So all that it's already going to be factored into. I'm going to be using Boss Law. They have two locations, one in Seminole, one in St. Pete. So I'll reach out to them over there, and then they'll start the title work.
It's going to be able to be released. You know that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it has to go through title. Yeah.
That has to be paid before anything gets,
It-
settled.
exactly. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So I'll work on that. I'll probably get that sent to you with like in the next like 2 hours or so. I got an error and I gotta run quick before I get back to my office. And then, but like I said, I'll text you like around 2 or so when it's sent, and then we could go from there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Well, listen, we'll be in touch.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. So overall, man, I did want to be at 210, but I went to 212. She started at 225. So now I gotta call my buyer to let him know that he could get the deal for 220. I'll make like the 8 or whatever, and then we'll be good from there. That's pretty. I mean, what the sellers. I mean, it wasn't a big drop. I didn't really have to drop them like significantly. There's been deals where I dropped sellers. Let's say 30K plus, but I was, I could have stayed. I mean, I probably could have stayed firm, but I mean, I went up 2,500. It's not the end of the world. All right, but let me call John because I know he said he was looking at another property in the area. So I'll call him right now and I'll tell him that we're all good. If he doesn't answer, I'll just send him a text. I know he's probably busy too. All right, let's see. No, yeah, so let me text him right now. Sorry, Carolyn just texted me asking if I'm going to be working out a deal with the mortgage company to settle for less than 89,000 because that's how much the balance is since they just want their money. I don't know. I mean, the only time I really let's see. She also sent another text. Considering they would be getting their money that they're owed and it'll be cash, they should be willing to settle for the lesser amount. Don't you agree? Let's see what I'm gonna say here. All right. Any questions, guys? I don't know if anyone who joined late, but I was just working a deal that I recently got yesterday. The off market pre foreclosure. That from a list I pulled recently. No questions. Any other questions, guys? Anything else you guys are working on, or you guys need help on?
Where's that one at in Florida that you pulled from the list?
It was in St. Petersburg, about like 10, 12 minutes from my house. Pre-foreclosure list. I from this one neighborhood. I sold a deal recently, like 2 months ago, in that same neighborhood, and I know it's a pretty good neighborhood. So like, if you find anything over there, should be able to move, because it's not in a flood zone and it's in a good location. But yeah, I pulled a list. I ended up calling it. I think when I was skipping it, I actually got in contact. Because sometimes you don't know who you're gonna get when you call somebody if you're skipping a list. So like I obviously saw the house. I skipped it. I ended up calling the seller's dad, and then he was nice enough to I explained the whole situation. He was nice enough to say, like, to give. He didn't give me her number. He just gave Carolyn my number, and then she called me, and then we pretty much went from there. And then she wasn't trying to. She was gonna try to see if she could, because usually people are always in denial when they first get when they're in pre-foreclosure, all that kind of stuff. So like, she said, I'm gonna try to work it out with the bank, blah 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 blah. And then like 2 weeks later, I gave her a call, like, hey, like, would you still be open to doing something? I mean, I'm still interested if you are. And she's like, yeah, you know what, let's do this. And then that was yesterday. So, and then I went to the house yesterday, took a few photos. And then I hit up my one guy where I sold my last deal to in that same neighborhood. I told him, like, hey, John, I got another one. Would you be interested? He's like, yeah. And then I sent him the address and photos. And then he said, yeah, I'll be at, he said 210 to 215. I was like, can you do 220? So I bumped him up a little bit. And then I obviously had to be a little bit lower than that for the seller. So I just had a conversation with her. And then I got her at a lower number. And then I'm going to be sending over the agreement in probably like the next 2 hours or so.
So is it possible to so when you're doing the foreclosure sale, you can tell the bank, give 90 days in order before the sheriff were to come out, and I guess could you say something to the bank? Hey, it's going to foreclosure. I'm going to help them out. So if I give the seller 90 days or something like that to.
Sorry, you were breaking it. What about the 90 days?
Or just like before a foreclosure happens, you could.
Yeah, because when you only have a few options. I mean, yeah, you could try to see if you could do a wholesale deal. You could try to, let's say, I haven't done this myself. Maybe try working out an ovation. You could try to do sub 2 with the seller. I know that sub 2 wasn't really gonna work. I mean, she owed like 90K. The house is probably worth, like, if she were to sell right now, it could probably sell for like 230, 240 on market. But it needs about like to be like, it's livable now, but it's in pretty rough shape. You'd have to dump like 30,000 to make it like at least rentable. And I know how much I think she owed like 98,000 or something. I don't know. But I don't know if I did I answer your question at all. I don't know if I did or not.
Yeah, we had around to that, and then going to the foreclosure list. Gosh, I've used a lot of just Craigslist, and I've done a bunch of outreach and stuff, prospecting on Craigslist, and I've had some luck. But there's one guy who's down in the Pinellas Park area. He's going to send me at least 2 properties that are down there that will be wholesale deals. So I sent him over some contracts a few days ago, but we've been back and forth on this. So he's boots on the ground down there, and you're so. I guess another way to what's another good way to pull foreclosure lists? I guess.
What I usually do, if you're asking like what's a good way to pull a foreclosure list, I just let's say put in the you could do zip code, you could do like circle on the map, do the neighborhood, whatever city, and then just I hit pre-foreclosure, I hit owner details, and then I do like I make sure that they're like a individual, it's not like a corporation, for the equity of the property, or sorry, with the valuation of the home. I make sure it's not like a ridiculous price. I'm never like looking at homes that are like valued over like 500,000. I want to make sure they're valued like at least under 500,000, and that's pretty much it. Nothing else. And then I pull that list, and then I and call it. I make sure it's a pretty small list, because I don't have like a VA. I don't have like a I probably should invest in a dialer, but I don't have a dialer. I just kind of like that list I pulled was probably, I don't know how many homes were in the list, maybe like 300 or something, or maybe 500 homes were in the list. But after I put all my filters that I like, it ended up being like maybe 20 something homes that I had to skip, trace, and call, which is pretty much nothing. I can do that in a full day if I wanted to. So
you put on a Zillow, because I know a while ago Mike and I were trying to build a list of foreclosures in Tampa and St. Pete area. A lot of people weren't really answering because they keep getting all these calls and nobody was really answering. So that was on Zillow. I guess I like doing the Craigslist, and I've done Facebook where I would find some moving sales and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is.
It's tough because one, they're getting a lot of calls. They're getting a lot of calls.
You can like numbers. I know. I was watching a lot of Eric's videos. You can do a selfie video and explain it yourself.
Yeah, you could do that too. I've done one selfie video, and I didn't end up closing it right away. But then we ended up doing a deal like months later. But that was like from I'm 1 for 1 on selfie videos. But I didn't get it right away. It took me like a few months after the fact. But he remembered who I was, and kind of like it was like again, it's just a lead that I followed up with, and I was able to be successful with that. Yep. But yeah, for pre-foreclosure, it's hard because I've seen other people have more success with them if they're like meeting them in person, like door knocking or leaving a card at the property, like sending a mailer out as opposed to texting or calling, because again, they're getting a lot of calls from their lender or like agents who could see that they're in pre-foreclosure, or other investors, other wholesalers, so they're getting a lot of random calls. So like they're not going to answer a number they don't know. So it's hard to get. I mean, this one I just got lucky because her dad answered. Maybe if I had her number directly, she wouldn't have answered me. But her dad answered me, and then put in a good word for me, like, hey, like I explained who I am, like blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to reach Caroline. I buy houses, in the area. I bought one recently over in this like down the same street. Do you think she would be willing to sell her place? Blah blah blah. I didn't tell him that that she was in he probably already knew that. But yeah, he didn't give me her number. He gave her my number, and then she reached out to me. So I just was able to work. It's sometimes you get lucky like that.
I get rolling the dice, yeah. But I guess I have talked to this Justin guy I thought on Craigslist, but he's boots on the ground in Pinellas, so I might try to find some foreclosures. He knows there's a lot of places down there that need help. So I've just been doing my own stuff on that. But in the meantime, I know I've missed the past few deals, but trying to get back into it. So I was waiting for Eric's this past 2 weeks, or this week. So unfortunately that did not happen. But maybe next Tuesday he'll be on. So.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a little bit. I know last time I talked to him was, I think his it was because he took a break because I know he had to take care of his daughter. He was pretty much on like daddy duty for the whole like few days because his wife was out of town because it was like she was celebrating our friend's bachelorette party, so she was doing that. So, but I haven't spoke to him after that. I don't know what he's up to.
Sorry.
But yeah, he's a busy man sometimes. Kind of hard to get a hold of him.
Sorry, yeah.
I've had a pretty crazy week this week.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? Anything else you guys got that you're working on, or any deals, or any questions for me? Again, for myself, I just I like going after pre-foreclosures. I mean, that's, sometimes just they have to do something. So it's either they, again, just put their head under, put the head in the dirt and then waiting to see if the bank takes it, or try to at least get something out of it as opposed to nothing and then them ruining their credit. So there's a lot of motivation when it comes to that. At first, you might not. When you do contact the pre-foreclosure, if they do answer, they might not give you the time of day because they're always in denial. But then if you recircle and follow up with them, they could be willing to. They most likely would be willing to do it because they tried it. They see there probably isn't really any good options for them except for a quick cash offer, blah blah blah, and then they're like, okay, fine, I'll listen to what you have to say now. So.
I see. So kind of come from a different angle there, and I guess it's better to do. I've learned, potential foreclosures than a probate because that one might take longer. And then I thought about buying some leads, and I don't know. I've kind of been staying on Zillow, just mainly on Craigslist, but I don't know, buying leads. I don't know if I kind of thought about doing that through.
I'm kind of switching gears to that too because
his leads.
You could buy leads, but they're gonna. You can see if they're motivated or not because they'll tell you if they're motivated, but they're usually pretty at least I would say over $250 to buy a lead. But if you convert them, then they're good. But usually they say it takes about 1 to 9, leads purchased, 1 to 10 leads purchased to convert. So, you're going to be in it for, let's say, call it close to 3,000 to hopefully get a deal that's, exceeds 10,000. But it's up to, or you could just go, but again, they're going to be motivated. They answered, they filled out a Google ad, they, filled out a Facebook ad, whatever the company uses to source them out. They do all that marketing. So they're already a warm lead per se, but you got to just hope that their commission's there, and then also too that they're at a reasonable price.
What do you think about doing that yourself? I guess instead of paying, I guess you could probably.
Well, it's probably gonna cost a little bit more for marketing. I don't know how much people usually pay, but I would say it's close to 5,000, maybe even more for good marketing. Because you got to put your brand out there and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that's just you got to be willing to you got to do all that work to design it, where your ads are gonna be, are they gonna be on Google, or are they gonna be on Facebook, blah blah blah, that sort of thing. So you gotta so I gotta make sure I put if I were to do it, I gotta invest in Terrell and make sure I do have ads for Terrell buys houses all over St. Pete or whatever. But that could be costly. So I rather just use a company that already has their whole system, or it works because people obviously buy leads from them on the regular. And then all I have to do is just pay for the lead. I get their number, they get the seller's number exclusively if I want to pay for that, and I start working it from there.
Totally get it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see there. I think there was a thing in the chat here. Okay, you're new to this. I have problems finding investors in Oklahoma. That's fine. Oklahoma. I think it's not crazy, regarding population wise and all that kind of stuff. But you could still find people in Oklahoma. For example, you could join Facebook groups that of investors in Oklahoma, and you can find buyers that way. You could make a post hey, look, I wholesale out in Oklahoma. I'm looking for more, fix and flip buyers or buy and hold, buyers. You can make a post something like that, and then you can find people that way. You can you could look at recent flips in the area, and you can contact those agents, or just save those addresses. So when you do have a deal, just reach out to the agent, like, hey, look, you listed this renovated home, back in November. You think that would still be interested? Blah blah blah, and you could reach out to people that way, or you could, like, let's say I could type in on like sites like PropStream, sites like PropWire or Batch Leads. I could type in like Oklahoma. Um, let's say I do Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I could see that there's 34,000 cash buyers. I could click on the filter thing and then kind of go from there. I could click on property details and just find my buyers out that way too. You could do residential single family homes that were bought by cash buyers. I could click on ownership information here, and I could say like they bought it's a corporation, like, so an LLC, INC, years of ownership. I could go like max a year. So like they if they're doing a flip, if they're still working on the flip, you could see that they actively bought it. Sometimes I could go down to the price range, like go to value and equity. I'll make sure the value is like, let's say, I don't know how the market is in Oklahoma, to be honest, but like I'll do like for the assessed total value, I'll make sure it's like let's say like under 400,000. We'll do that. So I went from like 35,000 buyers to like 1,000 buyers by just doing all those little things there. And I don't think I would add anything else. And then you could just click you click on the properties, and you could see you could see those homes, and reach out to those buyers and go from there.
Yeah, I think my issue with that is like, because wholesaling is illegal here. So should I go somewhere else? Like Dallas is 2.5 hours from me. So should I just pick Dallas as my market?
Yeah, I didn't know it was illegal in Oklahoma. I mean, are you able to double close at all, or not even? You can't even do that.
I think you're allowed to double close. I'm not 100% sure. It just, the whole thing in Oklahoma, it just makes it harder for me to get started because I'm nervous about it being illegal here.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I hear you. I mean, yeah, if you want to, you could start, a different state. That does make it difficult, but I feel like, I mean, let's see. I was typing in this wholesale. Google. I know in Pennsylvania they just changed the rules where I can't wholesale. I would have to I would have to double close. So like it's probably something like that.
So you would have to have cash up front to double close on that then?
No, you would. You could just use the cash from like they'll just use it from the transaction. So like it will just be pulled out of your whatever you were gonna make. Kind of like how it works for like the seller in the situation, like automatically taxes are taken out automatically. If there's a mortgage, that's taken out of their net proceeds. That's kind of like how it would work.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, so you never have to come up with cash up front. So like, let's say if you have an assignment fee for 10,000, but you're in this. For me, like if I'm wholesaling a deal in Pennsylvania, and that's my assignment fee, but the fact that I can't wholesale, I have to double close. That $10,000 assignment fee will turn into like, let's say like 7,500 or something, close to 8,000, because again you're closing on it twice. You have the transaction from seller to you, and then from you to the buyer. So there's the fees for that.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yep. Okay, so yes, wholesaling is illegal in Oklahoma. There are restrictions. There's real estate license following the code. Should be consulted real estate for wholesaling. Okay, so yeah, require a license too. All right. Let's see. Double close cars. Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. You need a. It's saying that you need a license. And you can have double close of property without one. I mean, the only thing you could really do if you're, I mean, is just partner with like somebody who has a license and then do it that way. Like, let's say if you make a good contact with like a good connection with like an agent, who has their license. I mean, then they could help you with your types of deals. You just have to. They would have to be the one doing like the whole transaction like they'll be the one like kind of like helping you with the transaction. Let's say if I met so say if you met a guy by the name of Justin that is an active agent in Oklahoma, and you say like you introduce yourself like, hey, look, I'm looking to wholesale out there. I know I need a license, blah blah blah, but I'm want to partner with you when I get my wholesale deals, and then have just we'll work out the payments or the structure when we get to that point. So maybe it'll be like a 60-40 split, or I don't know, whatever the case may be. But that's the only way you could really do it. But it's just by because then like let's say it can't be under your name, it would have to be under like his name or his LLC, and then he could pay you, and then he'll be in contract with the seller instead of you. And then if you guys are able to move the deal, then he'll just you guys would have to have like a JV agreement or something along the lines of that, so you could get paid. That's how that would work. Since you officially need to have a license there. Hopefully that helps.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions, guys? And that was a good question. Any other questions that you guys may have? No, let me see if there's anything in the chat that I missed. I don't know. Questions? Okay, so let's see what else I got going on. Well, I'm working on a probate. It's in PA still. It should, my attorney's doing the finishing touches. Basically, for you guys who don't know what a probate is, for anyone that, let's say, let's say I passed away, but I was married, but my spouse's name wasn't on the title or on the deed or anything. So like for her to be willing, for her to be able to do anything with the house, to sell it, all that kind of stuff, she would have to file a probate with the county. She would have to be the person or representative or the PR of that estate to be legally able to sell it, because she wouldn't be able to sell it because it's when you look at the deed, it's under my name, but obviously if I were to pass away, that wouldn't be able to happen. So that's pretty much how it works. So this situation is basically the person being the person representative of the estate, like that's the mother, and her son passed away and he wasn't married, he didn't have any kids. So because the guy's name is David, so David wasn't married, he didn't have any kids, so then it would automatically go to his parents. His dad's passed, but so it's only his mom who's living. So I was able to connect with Doris. Doris doesn't want anything to do with the house. She doesn't live in the house or anything like that. It's just kind of just sitting there vacant. It's also in a pre-foreclosure as well because no one's making the payments. I think he has it through Wells Fargo. I don't know the balance that's left. But anyway, yeah, I had to use an attorney and have her be the PR. So my attorney Zach just made that happen recently. Then now we have to, since she is not on the Wells Fargo thing, the mortgage, they can't really talk to her. So she has to fill out a third-party authorization for her to be able to find out what the balance of the mortgage is and all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're doing currently. And then we'll be good to. I'm hoping by the end of this month we'll be able to close on it and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what else I got, and I have a few other things I'm working on as well.
I remember that one, Terrell. Actually, I remember this one. I remember you've been going on about it. 1 or 2 stuff. This one, I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you were breaking up there, Joe. So like I just hear you. I just heard you say you remember hearing about me explaining this, but was there a question that you had, or no? No.
No, or it's the process for
Yeah,
longer time.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think I started working that lead, that probate. I would say like it was like I think I checked recently. It was like around like January 22nd. So like we're not even two. It usually takes about 2 months. If everything will go smoothly, all that kind of
Oh,
stuff. Yeah, it's usually a 2 month process. But at the end of the day, when you close on it, you can make if you do everything correctly, you can make a decent amount of chunk of change to where it's fine waiting the 2 months. It doesn't. But that's how the probates usually are, because again, it's like you gotta you gotta file for it, with the attorney, and then there's everyone else in the same county doing the same thing. So you're gonna have to, let's say if you're person number 48 of this month, you gotta just kind of wait until the judge gets to your case, and then stamps it for approval, and then you're good to go. But it's just a little waiting. Once you get it all filed and stuff, it's pretty easy. All you got to do is just know, you gotta, again, follow that family tree. So for situations like this one, when there's no spouse and there's no like kids, then it automatically goes to the parents. If they were like, that's how it goes. It just goes. I wish I had the order, but spouse, kids, parents, siblings is pretty much the order. Um, so for that situation, David wasn't married. He didn't have any kids. It would go to his parents. If both his parents passed, then it would go. Then I would have to contact his siblings, and that's how it works. And then once you do that, you got to make sure that you have that there wasn't a will. Like, if there was a will in place, that makes it a lot easier, because the will dictates who's going to get what, like what properties are going where, who's going to get the car, who's going to, that kind of thing. But if there's no will in place, then you would need the death certificate, the driver's license of the one who's going to be the PR. You need the social security, and then that's pretty much it. You put everything, you have the attorney file it all for you, and then at that point you're just kind of like a waiting game until the judge approves. That all the information is correct, and that person who is going to be the PR is that actually who they say they are, and then you're good from there.
thank you for going in depth on that, because I didn't really know pretty much all that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple. Once you get the process, I mean, I've done like, I don't know, like 6 or 7. So once you get the process down, it's pretty simple. You just gotta, again, find yourself in a situation where, like, the family doesn't want anything to do with the house. Let's say they inherited the house. I had situations where there was like a will in place, so like they knew about the home, but my last probate before this one was down here in Florida. So her dad got inherited the property, but then her dad passed away, and she lived 2 hours away, or something, like 3 hours away. So like when I contacted her, she's like, "Oh yeah, I know about the property in St. Pete. I don't have any, she doesn't have any means to be in St. Pete or anything like that." So I was like, for her, that home is useless. So she's like, "Oh yeah, if you're willing to buy it, I'm willing to sell it, blah blah blah." And then we went into agreement shortly after that. So get those types of situations too.
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any other questions, guys? Anything else you guys are struggling with? No questions. Let me see what else I can.
I asked you, right? I think you were talking with Michael about like other wholesalers on industrial lift who were running ARVs, and they were kind of off, because there's some that are hitting me up and asking about all these deals, but I'm still interested in buying. So I guess I need to go back and find out, buy boxes. I guess maybe your buyers, if you don't mind, share that for me, so I know your buyers' criteria boxes.
Yeah. My buy, like if they're, let's say if the property is not in the flood zone, let's say we're talking about Florida here, they're pretty much at like a 25% return. maybe a little bit less. It all depends. They, it just the numbers just have to make sense. And if they're able to profit, off a 25% return, and it's not in a flood zone, they're pretty much ready to jump at it. I mean, if it is in a flood zone, they might have to do let's say a 65% return, or something like that. But as long as you run your numbers correctly, there's comps that justify where you think the valuation of the property can be once it's all renovated, then it's pretty much smooth sailing from there. Sometimes people it's hard to move certain types of deals when, let's say, you're trying to get, let's say you're asking this much for the property. You're saying that it's going to be, let's say I'm asking $250 for the property. I'm claiming the ARV to be 400,000. But when you look at let's say a year, 12 months ago, in that same neighborhood, there's nothing along, let's say you're a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There's no 3-2s that sold for 400,000 in the past 12 months. So there's really no, there's no proof. You know what I mean? So when there's no proof, when there's no comps, that makes it hard to say that your property is worth what you think it's going to be worth. If I were to bring that to my buyer, he would, and I'm saying oh yeah, I guarantee it's going to be 400,000. But then he looks back 12 months. There's nothing in that same neighborhood, making that justification. So okay, it's really not 400,000. It might be 380, and that changes everything. That means my repair numbers are going to be probably still the same. But that offer, what I'm going to be asking for the property, that's completely off, So then, because I'm let's say 20K or 25K over ARV, that means that the asking price would have to drop. And let's say that if it ends up dropping, then I'm probably going to be what he would pay is what I'm going to be under. I'm going to be more under contract for a little bit higher of a price. So then I would have to do a whole bunch of renegotiating. But that's pretty much, as long as you could show proof that the comps are there to justify what you're asking, then you're pretty much good. And then you just run your repairs accurately. I mean, some people a little struggle with repairs, but once you get a few once you do a few deals, or you ask a few people who have a lot of experience, then you're able to then they can give you that insight that you need to make sure that you're not underestimating the repairs. So that's a big thing a lot of people do. They underestimate the repairs, and they end up, again, the formula's off.
My last question was, do you and Eric share the same buyers? Probably at some point, because I know he's got a whole cash of buyers.
Yeah, we pretty much do. I mean, he gave me his list back in when I first started doing it by myself. So I would say around, it was I think fall of 2022 is when I got the list that he used when he was in the office, when I was in his office. But yeah.
Cool. Do you guys, I'm guessing he works from home and you work from home too, and virtually you guys do have an office down there?
No, not anymore. He used to, but then it's just a fault. I don't know. We just found it better to just not. I don't know. It's obviously I don't know exactly the full reason why he closed the doors, but essentially, just I think there was only 8 or close to 10 of us, and then for the office space alone, and then all the expenses to run the business, it just made it easier to just do it.
Diminishing return right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it. I mean, honestly, it's a good thing that it was a blessing in disguise. At first, I was oh man, I was upset that he was going to be closing the office, but then I was all right, well then I could just work from home. I don't have to drive to the office anymore. You just work from home. You can do everything virtually. I mean, that's what I was already doing anyway. So, just the only other aspect I was missing, I was just physically there. So, I was there from a regular job, 9 to 5. So now I don't really have to do that. I could work when I want to work. So. It was a good thing at the end of the day, but it doesn't. It took me a while to get to where I'm at now. So just with a little practice, and you'll develop your craft, and you'll be able to have a conversation with anybody over the phone, and work those types of deals.
you guys go to like any conventions or anything like that?
You. Sorry, I was looking at the text from my buyer. No, the last thing we've done together was like something that we actually that we actually hosted. So it was like, I would say, when was this? It was like in the fall. Like there was a whole thing he did on YouTube for it. That's the last thing that we did. I probably, you know, maybe doing a little bit of myself a disservice by not going to like investor meetups and all that kind of stuff. But it is what it is. You know, you could go. I would say for someone like yourself, I mean, if you're just starting out, you know, it's always good to go to those types of real estate meetups because you'll meet other investors, you'll meet you know, other wholesalers, you'll meet some private money guys, you'll meet all types of people, you know what I mean? And then you can, you know, if you get, you know, get a call, you could get their cards, they could get your cards, say their information, and then you know, build relationships that way. So a lot of people that are new are still like, you know, that are, you know, are like me, like, you know, I could still go out and meet, you know, get some more people for my buyers list, but I just typically don't. I kind of just deal with the people who I usually deal with. And if I meet new people on the way through phone conversations or through like other buyers, and that's all right with me.
I got you.
Yeah.
Not here, yeah, in town. I have some other friends that are doing the same thing. So.
Okay, I gotcha. Let's see what else. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, and also too, guys, I know for, you know, there's nothing wrong with Zillow. I closed a handful of deals on market on Zillow, but at the same time, like, you got to make sure that you're even though the numbers might look good, some investors don't even like, they just assume on market with like as being like just trash. So you gotta, like, let's say if a property is listed on the market for 200,000, like it's not, you know, for you to get it like at 190, even if it's still kind of like a deal, it might not be a good enough deal for most buyers still. Because again, like they just feel like they're not getting that much of a discount. So if a property is listed at 200,000 on market, you would ideally need to be at, like, let's say, you know, maybe 175 or 180, and then ask for, you know, a little bit more over that than that, and then you'll be able to get people who are interested. When they don't see property, when they see you asking for like, let's say, not even under 20,000 of what it's listed for, they just kind of look away. They don't pay any mind. As opposed to if that same property were to be off market, then it's a whole different ballgame, because in their eyes, it's like, oh, like, you know, I no one else knows about this. It's just me and a few other people. You know what I mean?
Right. Nice. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. There's not a lot of eyeballs. Plus, yeah. Okay. Let's get around.
Yeah. So it's a big thing. You know, a lot of investors, they just kind of like, they don't like, I know, like, some of my guys I deal with, they bought on market deals for me in the past, but like, again, I was at a reasonable number. It wasn't like I was 5,000 or like 10,000 under list price. I was like 20,000, 25,000 or more under list price. So then they, you know, give it the time of day. So just keep that. A lot of people make that mistake, and then like they're wondering like why they can't move their deals. That's just how buyers think, you know. They want to feel, I guess, special, that, you know, no one else knows about the property other than, like I said, a handful of people. So yeah. Any other last minute questions, guys?
Got a long drive ahead of me. I'm going to Colorado, so I would hop on the phone and stuff, but my audio and stuff's kind of messed up. But just have a safe trip.
You're good. What else did you say at the end? I missed it.
Oh, I just said, you know, wish that I have a safe trip, and maybe I can go in Colorado. I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta get out there. I know, like, you know, because I haven't snowboarded in like, it's been like 5 years or whatever, but like I would like to. Something with one guy, he said he went recently. I forget where in Colorado he went. It's like one big snow ski resort that he went to, and I forget the name of it. But anyway, like, you know, I would like to go out west and check something like that out.
I sledding. I don't go. I only go sledding. I don't do skiing or anything like that.
Oh, really? Yeah, snowboarding's pretty fun. Skiing. I haven't skied. I just only snowboarded. But yeah, just to do those types of activities. It's pretty much almost. Snow's gonna melt somewhat soon. I'm assuming. So it's only like a few more weeks of that.
Hour drive or something because it's 2 hours more because of the wind. It's like a 9-hour drive for me right now. So.
Yeah, it's a far drive. I hate. I used to like driving, but like now it's just like anything over like 3 hours. I just get annoyed. So like that's just how I am. Alrighty. Let's see. Any other last minute questions, guys? If not, I mean I could put my name in the chat. So you guys can reach out to me on Discord, on School. I mean, if you guys use School, I'm not sure how many people use School, but I know Eric just made that transition to School a little bit, so people use that. So you could reach out to me that way as well. Just type in that name on my name, Terrell, on School. You'll be able to pull me up. Like I said, I'm on Discord as well. So you guys can reach out to me anytime. If you guys have any questions, or if you guys want me to look at a deal, like help you comp a DL out, or maybe you guys are struggling trying to close the seller or trying to bring a buyer up in price. I could help you guys out with that too. I'm just here to be like a mentor, guys. I mean, that's what Eric was. When I first started, he was helping me on the phone. He was helping me, write up agreements with sellers, helping me close those types of agreements, talk to buyers, all that kind of stuff. It does, and I guess why I was successful, because he's like right there with me. Even though I'm not like right beside you, I'm still, we could still, do one-on-one Zooms. I could try to help you guys out that way. Again, I could just type messages to you guys of how to, what to say over the phone to sellers, all that kind of stuff through Discord. But I'll try to do what I can because I want everyone to be successful. Or you guys are in the right place of trying to be in the real estate game and just get that financial freedom. Because I'm living proof of that. Eric's living proof of that. There's a whole bunch of people on YouTube or whatever that do this for a living. That's all they do, and they make it work. So it doesn't happen overnight, though. I didn't really start getting into consistent deal closing until I would say I was about almost close to a year in. I would say that. And then because I think I started in July of 2021, and then I really started. I've closed deals 2 months after that, but I didn't really see constant deal flow until I would say March or April of 2022 is when I started to really notice. I kind of it started clicking with me, and then I just kind of took it from there. So it could happen. Just gotta be consistent. That's one big thing people neglect, is just consistency, and follow up is key as well, guys. This one contract that I'm going to send, this one agreement I'm going to send to the seller, if I didn't follow up with her yesterday, she probably would have forgot about me. So just think like that. So follow up is big. That's how you get a lot of your deals. A lot of wholesalers miss out. Even I had one of my buyers, I think he was basically talking about people, wholesalers who would contact him, because he has I think over 20 or 25 properties in the area, and they would contact him. I forget for what exact reason, but they won't follow up ever again. Because he's open, he's open to selling some of his stuff, or he's open to getting, more properties. They just contact him. They make that initial touch, whether it's to see if he's open to selling any of his properties, or seeing if he's open to buying any more properties in the same area. And then they'll have that full, let's say, 3-minute conversation with him or whatever. And then he won't hear from him ever again. So he was just telling me, I think it was almost 2 weeks ago. It was yeah, no one follows up, man. No one I see a lot of wholesalers who start out, they just don't, they try to get after it, but then they don't follow up or do anything. And then I don't hear from them ever again. But it's you're one of the guys that just is, that's still consistent with, sending me stuff. And, so it's that's rare to find. Cause the first deal he bought from me was, I want to say, I think it was April of 2022. It was like something over in Pennsylvania, because that's where he does his deals in PA, like about like 30 minutes from where me and Eric used to live. And then I'm still sending him stuff to this day. 3 years, almost 3 years later. So um, again, because I just am consistent. I have my little thing. I mean, granted, I work. I don't have a team that I'm uh, um, dealing with or teach, like like just like some people have like a whole big corporation or big, like 5+ person team. It's just me and me, myself, and I. So it's easy to just get like distracted and not really motivate yourself to do what you got to do. But you just got to stay, you got to have that willpower. Just think in your I used to watch videos like Grant Cardone. Just think like, who has your money. Just think about it like that. Like and then that things like that would drive you. Or listen to I watch YouTube all the time. I listen to Jerry Norton. I listen to RJ Bates. They all, and there's a few other guys I listen to as well. But like sometimes I watch clips on Pace more, but I follow them on Instagram, stuff like that. And then you see clips like that on Instagram. You see clips of them on YouTube. That's just you see them killing it. Makes you wanna do the same. So. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I mean, take it for what it is. But yeah, I think just the two things just got to be, you just got to be consistent, man. You just got to be consistent, make those phone calls, reach out on the weekends. I usually don't bother anybody on a Sunday unless I'm like specifically working a deal that, let's say I'm setting up a showing or whatever the case may be. Then I would work on a Sunday, but usually I don't really work on Sundays. But yeah, call on weekends. Let's say, some people, they when they contact the seller, let's say I contacted the seller today at like 11:30, and I just make that one they didn't answer. You might want, it's probably beneficial for you to either call, like say try calling them again around like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, or calling them that same seller again around like on a Saturday. You might get them that way. So a lot of people like kind of just do like one and done when they're reaching out to let's say off market or even on market properties. It's good to call at a different time or on a different day. You might have better success. But yeah. All right, guys. That's enough of me chatting, I guess. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Friday, good rest of your weekend. Again, if you need me, just you can contact me. I'll try to get to you guys as soon as I can. In the meantime, just hit the phones. Just have the willpower. Rome wasn't built overnight. It's gonna take some time, but as long as you stay on that right path and do what you got to do, you'll see those first 2 deals come in if you haven't gotten a deal already. All right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Sports, I know like one football player. I know like two, actually. I know Tom Brady and I know Odell Beckham. There you go.